What's going on, everybody? It's Brett, my YouTube channel Good Talk Gaming, and we're back in Total War Warhammer 2 with a 1v1 battle here between two of our channel subscribers, Triiari and the Witch King of Angmar. And it's going to be a Skaven versus High Elf battle, and it's going to be pretty intense. I've watched the replay, and I like what both sides were trying to do here, and I think they both had very solid picks. So what Triiari is doing as the Skaven player is he's gone with a nice mix of Warp Lightning Cannons and Plague Claw Catapults, one being anti-large armor piercing, the other being great against infantry with magical damage. And he spread them out. So he's taken this little hill position here, spread them out, and given them each a unit of clan rat with spears to protect them from any sort of cavalry engagements. He's hidden two of these Death Runners here. They are, of course, Vanguard deployed, and they do have concealment bombs. So they're going completely invisible right now. They can't be spotted. They're a deadly unit in that they can lower the armor of anything that they attack. So going to look for them to shred any units that they get into contact with. An entire front line here of clan rats. Looks like they all are shielded, a nice choice. That gives them a bit of melee defense. And just some slaves out in the front to absorb any types of charges. His Lord choice is Lord Skrolk, the blind plague rat himself. And he'll be using him to summon lots of plague monks this game to help defend his artillery and to shore up his numbers to ensure that he can take out the high elf filth. So he's using his Warp Lightning Cannons right now to counter skirmish this Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, and it's gone. It fired one or two shots and that was it. It is out. So an excellent choice here in terms of trying to counter maybe one or two artillery pieces from the Skaven, but this is just an overwhelming amount of artillery. Tyrion running in here, getting a beautiful Sunfang and roasting the reinforcing clan rats here. So now he's all alone with this artillery piece, and he's going to get some big shots done on it. The Silverhelms went up and around this rock, using it as a bit of cover, and they're going to come back here to help support Tyrion. The front line is engaged. It's a nice mix of spearmen, the Pure Main Company, the White Lions here, going to just absolutely decimate these clan rats. And you'll see here they've already routed them. Another group of White Lions here, pushing through the front lines, and as a bit of leadership and a caster, the Lore Master of Hoeth. So an excellent choice. He has Earthblood as well as Spirit Leech on him as his magic moves. Some Dragon Princes were held very far in reserve, maybe a bit too far in reserve, but I'm sure he was very worried about losing them to Warp Lightning Cannon fire on the entry. But now the Silverhelms on this flank are getting in and trying to shut down this Warp Lightning Cannon, but it's going to be very difficult because they took so much damage on the approach that these clan rats will be able to punch above their weight class and do some damage. He also has a noble on a chariot, and he's been doing work. He's already up to 35 kills, and as long as he keeps him moving, he'll be able to rack up quite a few more. Tyrion here, below half health, very dangerous position. But he does have the Heart of Avalorn, I do believe. So if he drops below 20% HP, he'll have a decent chance to proc an enormous health regen buff that will save him. He also has Faint and Riposte, an extremely powerful, unique series of buffs that he can activate. Here it is. Melee defense, melee attack, and physical resistance. And now he's in there with the Pure Main Company, who do provide a Guardian leadership, a Guardian buff, I should say, to any leadership units, heroes, lords. It's a static physical resistance buff. So it'd be nice if they could stay near each other, but Tyrion needs to be mobile here. He has to stick and move. The routing Skaven are rallying. Some of the artillery pieces that have been broken will be returning. Triiari is going to be very on top of returning his artillery crews back to their pieces and continuing to get value here. A summoned unit of Plague Monks, and you can tell they're summoned because of the blue aura. Not normally great against a unit like Silverhelms, but in this position against a damaged unit, with the support of some spears, they're going to be just as good as anything else at taking them down. The front line for the Skaven buckled, but that was to be expected. His artillery formation is so wide that the High Elf player would have to split up to try and engage every single artillery piece to shut them all down at once. And that's a very difficult thing to do. This Warp Lightning Cannon, despite being engaged on by these White Lions of Trace, are still able to fire here at Tyrion. and do pretty big damage. He's getting some spells cast on him. The Liber Bubionicus is draining him of HP. Throughout this battle, I know that the Lore Master has been using his healing on Tyrion to keep him alive. But Skrolk is not a pushover in melee, and you'll see here he was winning that fight for a moment there. Looks like he's going to get another summon of Plague Monks here, and these Plague Monks are on a perfect target. Spearmen are a very juicy target for them. Even the way they were summoned, they're all in and amongst their units. They're going to have lots of attacks going off, and we can just watch their models drop. Yeah, and there they go. They already have broken. Tyrion routed, but has come back. These Dragon Princes have been here fighting pretty much this whole time against 2 units of clan rats with spears and shields. Not what they want to be fighting. They'll win that fight probably eventually with just a little bit of support, but there's just so many numbers here. It'll be something of a death by 1,000 cuts scenario. The Lore Master, up to 48 kills, has pushed his way through the entire front line into the back line, but you can see here he's being collapsed upon by these 2 units of Death Runners who ran all the way from that back corner, helped to clean up some of this front line, and now we're going to engage on the Lore Master, and he's going to have a bad time. These are Clan Eshin, kind of ninja trained rats here with their warpstone blades. Pretty scary guys in the lore, and it's not until he's surrounded that he'll stop and fight. Tyrion here running around, still just trying to survive, honestly. So much artillery on the field that he's taking fire from every direction. The Noble, up to 101 kills, has been doing big work this game, but he's tied down in melee at the moment. Stand your ground going off from Lord Skrolk is going to provide leadership to these units, allowing them to stand up to that charge. And the Spearmen routed essentially as soon as they got into combat. The Dragon Prince is also routing, which is kind of rough. Even 15 Dragon Princes is a kind of a dangerous mobile force against lots of low-tier Skaven. Noble's not going to be great in this kind of sustained combat, but since we last checked, he's already gotten, wow, 19 kills. So he's just like, drive me closer so I can hit them with my halberd. And that's what he's doing, racking up kills. Tyrion has come here to help the Lore Master, and the Lore Master, a few wasted casts I noticed the first time I watched this game, of the Overcast Earthblood. So you'll see this bar here on Tyrion's health. That means he's reached his healing cap. So maybe just in the thick of the battle, the Witch King did not notice that he had reached that healing cap and wasted a bit of Winds of Magic trying to keep up Tyrion, when in reality he probably could have got a decent Overcast on his front line and perhaps kept them in the fight longer. So a beautiful Sunfang there, gonna rout all 3 of these units. And the Noble, even on his chariot, is still a match for Lord Skrolk in melee. But Tyrion is taking so much fire as he comes in here, only 500 HP. He's gonna charge and just like immediately rout. And I think his routing is what ultimately caused the remaining High Elves to then decide to leave the field. Because look at Skrolk. Skrolk was about to have a bad time, honestly. These 2 together, just putting out as much DPS as possible, could have dumpstered Skrolk. And that's maybe what he needed to do earlier, honestly. Had he been able to coordinate his leadership, Tyrion and the Noble are very mobile compared to a waddling Lord Skrolk on foot. Very slow unit. They probably could have teamed up on him and sniped him out. That's not maybe the most fun way to play, but I think that honestly might have been his best bet. And Lord Skrolk is not defenseless. A decent melee combatant. He can summon Plague Monks. He can summon Storm Vermin with halberds. He can summon standard clan rats. So he can surround himself with a small army almost instantly if he has the Winds of Magic to do so. So he's never quite as vulnerable as he appears. But the ability of Triiari to constantly be on top of his micro, returning his units to his artillery pieces, making good use of the Death Runners in the late game, and understanding that clan rats with spears would be a decent counter against nearly everything that the Witch King would bring. Also having shields just in case they decided to go with a heavy archer-based army was a nice choice. And you'll see here, I love the Noble pick on the chariot. Not something that I personally would have brought or thought to have brought, but I could see it being a solid pick
against the Skaven. Just unfortunate that there was so much heavy artillery on the field. And yeah, the Eagle Claw bolt thrower was not able to generate value, and the Dragon Princes were never able to find a home. So, great battle from these two. I want to thank them for sending in this game for me to cast, and I love casting subscriber games, and I will hope to do plenty more in the future. I have quite a few loaded up. Guys, if you're out there watching and I don't know who you are, you haven't introduced yourself yet, please do. Subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, tell me who you are, and then if you have a great replay that you would like to send me that's fairly recent, that way it's kind of up to date with the DLCs and things like that, send it to me, or message me on Steam, let me know that you have something, and I'll send you my email, and you can go ahead and send me some replays. I'm looking forward to casting more, and I'm not going anywhere, guys. My channel's going to be around for a while, so if you're enjoying this type of Total War content, you can look here in the future, and you'll always find something interesting to watch. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a great day. My YouTube channel, once again, Good Talk Gaming. My name is Brett, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.